DogWorks Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com.
Hello and welcome to DogWorks Radio. This is Michele Forto, the lead trainer at Alaska Dog Works. In our modern digital age, we often turn to the internet for things we don't know the answer to. And this, of course, includes all of our dog-related questions. As any dog owner knows, sometimes your dog is doing something, like watching TV, and you want to know why it is that he does that. So, you ask Google, and lucky for you, we did the homework for you and did a podcast episode all about it. Did you know that the number one search question was how long are dogs pregnant? Did you also know that there is a recipe for getting a skunk smell out of a dog's fur? And did you know that a dog's whiskers help them communicate? Sit back and take a listen. You might learn something new.
From First Paw Media, sponsored by Alaska Dog Works Professional Canine Training Center in Anchorage, Alaska. This is DogWorks Radio, committed to families and their dogs to build lifelong and fulfilling relationships. Visit our website at dogworksradio.com. Now here are your hosts, Robert and Michele Forto.
Google isn't the only place you can go for questions you have just been dying to know the answer to. Our podcast today covers the most searched dog questions on the internet. Let's get started. Why do dogs eat grass? Sometimes an old wives' tale is true. Most vets agree that eating grass helps relieve upset stomachs and other gut symptoms. Some dogs, however, seem to simply enjoy the taste, especially from early green, moist growth. Do dogs dream? Yes, dogs dream. Research with EEG scanning conducting while dogs slept support dream activity. If you watch your dog closely, you will notice that they occasionally move their legs as if running, whine, whimper, or even bark, breathe heavily, and have normal, rapid eye movements during dream sleep. I bet they're on a great adventure. How long are dogs pregnant? This answer is more complicated than you may think. However, the normal gestation period in dogs is approximately 63 days from conception, although this can vary. Compared to humans, however, this 9 weeks for dog pregnancy is pretty short. Oh, here's the best one on the list, in my opinion, you guys. Was Goofy a dog? Although an anthropomorphic one, Goofy is in fact a dog. He was first introduced to the world in 1932 on a cartoon called Mickey's Revenue. In this cartoon, he was known as Dippy Dog. Why does my dog lick me? Your dog might offer up some kisses for a few reasons. It could be because you taste good, they're rewarded for it, or even to show submission. Why do dogs howl? A howl is a non-specific form of communication behavior. Howls happen with stress or territorial issues. Howling can also simply be a fun activity they do together. Swing by our sled dog kennel, Timaneke, when we hook up a team, and you'll hear 40 sled dogs howling in unison. How can you tell how old a dog is? This is a question that is difficult to answer at home and something to consult your veterinarian about. You might be able to distinguish an older dog from a younger one because of gray hairs on his muzzle or paws. In general, though, smaller dogs live longer than larger dogs. How do you stop dogs from digging? Some dogs dig instinctively, and when they develop a habit of digging, it can be very challenging to train them out of it. When you first start the process of breaking the digging habit, make sure your dog is getting plenty of exercise and is never left unattended in the yard for any reason. Invest in a kennel to keep your dog in when you are away from the house. Ensure the kennel is the proper size for your dog. They should be able to stand up and comfortably turn around in it. Designate a place for your dog to dig, such as a sandbox. To attract your dog to the designated area, regularly toss and bury some milk bones or other treats in sand, as this will encourage them to dig. When your dog digs anywhere else, immediately tell them no, sternly, and redirect to the sandbox. It is extremely important to catch your dog every time they try and dig outside of the sandbox and redirect them to where they are allowed to dig. Go out of your way to praise your dog and make sure they know you are proud of them when they do dig in the sandbox on their own or when you encourage them. What happens when a dog eats chocolate? Chocolate contains stimulants called methylcyanidins, specifically theobromine and caffeine. These chemicals can wreak havoc on your dog's metabolic processes, resulting in chocolate toxicity. Symptoms of chocolate toxicity include vomiting, diarrhea, abnormal heart rhythms, and more. Dogs are individually sensitive to methylcyanidins, and therefore, different dogs may react differently to chocolate. Regardless, chocolate is still top of the list of things to keep your dog away from. If you think your dog has eaten chocolate, you should consult your veterinarian immediately. Why are dogs' noses wet? A dog's sense of smell is one of their most remarkable features, and a dog's wet nose helps to amplify this sense of smell. By excreting a thin layer of mucus across their nose, dogs are able to better absorb the scents they encounter in their environment. Once absorbed into the mucus, a dog can then lick their nose to remove the scent and bring it to the olfactory glands on the roof of their mouths. In addition to amplifying a dog's sense of smell, a wet nose helps them to regulate their body temperature. Because dogs lack normal sweat glands throughout their body, they instead rely on secretion of sweat through the pads of their feet and their nose to help cool down. We're going to take a short break, but I bet you will want to hear about our new sponsor.
Did you know that Alaska Dog Works trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michele Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska Dog Works on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.
We're back, and earlier in the show you learned about wet noses, Goofy, and doggy dreams. But we have a lot more to go over. How do you introduce dogs to cats, babies, each other, etc.? Introducing a dog to babies, kids, cats, other dogs, or any other living being for the first time is very important to do with care. Some dogs are sensitive to new ideas or objects more than other dogs. For the introduction, start by taking special care to control the environment. Make the room quiet and calming with no distractions, like loud music, extra people, etc. Next, have lots of yummy treats on hand. Start out by giving your dog treats a long distance away from the object, the baby or the cat, for instance, you are trying to introduce. At this point, you should have your dog's undivided attention. Next, if your dog does not look stressed or tense and is easily listening to your commands, move closer to the object. Next, if your dog is very relaxed, calm, and under verbal control, continue moving forward slowly. Have your dog check in with you every few steps to get a treat. Praise them and talk calmly while doing so. Next, anytime your dog appears stressed, tenses his muscles, stiffens his body, or raises his hackles, or any other type of stress marker that your dog exhibits, back up. Do not encourage your dog to move closer. Contact a professional trainer to handle the introduction. How to get rid of skunk smell on a dog. Now, here in Alaska, I'm not sure this is a real issue, but I know down in the lower 48, skunking of a dog happens on many occasions, especially in the fall. Every dog owner's worst nightmare, your dog getting sprayed by a skunk. If it happens, you can use this DIY recipe to help get rid of the smell. Take 1 quart of 3% hydrogen peroxide solution, 1/4 cup of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of liquid dishwashing soap. You should wear rubber gloves and work the solution into your dog's coat and wash him thoroughly. Don't leave the solution on his fur for too long, since peroxide can bleach his fur. Then, rinse completely. You might have to repeat the process more than once. Why do dogs chase their tails? Some tail chasing can be normal play or grooming behavior. It can also be a response to an injury. Consistent tail chasing, however, is abnormal and can fall into behavioral concerns of attention-seeking activity or OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder. These abnormal behaviors are likely reinforced by an endorphin release, causing a pleasure response in the brain. How do you stop a dog from barking? Barking is a completely natural behavior in dogs. Sometimes, however, barking can be disruptive, especially if your dog is barking when you're not home. In order to prevent unnecessary barking, you have to determine why your dog is barking at what you consider inappropriate times. If your dog barks when you leave and aren't at home, separation anxiety might be the cause. If he's barking at nothing, he might be bored. A few simple training tactics like positive reinforcement and lots of exercise can help you solve these issues. Can you put Neosporin on a dog? First off, always call your veterinarian in case of emergencies. It might be good to carry antibiotic ointment like Neosporin in your first aid kit, just in case. However, the best source of action is to always ask your vet and call your vet if you have an emergency. How to get rid of fleas on my dog. Bottom line, the best way to get rid of fleas is to prevent them in the first place. Flea and tick preventatives kill fleas that come in contact with your dog. If your dog does get fleas, however, you may need a prescription preventative or flea shampoo. Why do dogs have whiskers? Whiskers are modified sensory organs, mostly tactile in function. Touch, air, and vibrations stimulate whiskers and send that message to the brain. This likely helps with low light movements during running and hunting. Whiskers are also known to help dogs communicate fear or confidence during encounters with other dogs. How much Benadryl can I give my dog? Remember, just a moment ago, I said to be sure to talk with your vet about administering medications like Neosporin. Benadryl is the same thing. Before giving Benadryl to your dog, you should consult your veterinarian about your dog's symptoms. If your veterinarian thinks Benadryl may help your dog, he should be able to help you determine the correct dosage. The Merck Veterinary Manual recommends administering 2 to 4 milligrams of Benadryl per kilogram of body weight 2 to 3 times a day. However, this dosage can vary depending on your dog's existing medical conditions. Remember to consult your veterinarian before administering any over-the-counter medications. Why do dogs bury bones? This behavior is less about playtime and more about instinct. Before becoming domesticated, wild dogs would roam their territories in search of food and water. Because meals were unpredictable and often scarce, times when food was in surplus resulted in a need to guard and bury excess supplies. This tactic not only warded off scavengers, but would also naturally preserve and age the meal by keeping it in a cool location away from sunlight. Do you have a question that wasn't on our show today? Send us a message on our social channels. Just search Alaska Dogworks and be sure to check out alaskadogworks.com.
From First Paw Media, this is Dogworks Radio. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you'll see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Robert and Michele Forto. Our producer is Robert Forto and created for First Paw Media.